By all accounts, the Brooklyn Nets are going to cruise their way to the NBA Finals. When you have three of the most talented offensive players in basketball, all of which who can score in a variety of ways, it poses a daunting challenge to any team that tries to keep up. But if any team in the Eastern Conference is prepared to take down the behemoth that is the Nets, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. Led by MVP candidate Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kris Middleton, and one of the best individual defenders in the NBA in Jrue Holiday, the Bucks have an ideal combination of offense and defense that can strike fear into the hearts of Nets fans. So while I agree that the Nets are dominant and should be East favorites and probably Finals favorites too, the Bucks do have it in them to beat Brooklyn. Let me explain. Shock was the most common reaction to the Bucks signing Jrue Holiday to a 4-year contract extension worth up to $160 million. And that's fair. That's a lot of money to commit to a player who was about to turn 31 years old in June. But the Bucks paid a massive price to acquire Holiday in hopes of persuading Giannis to sign the 5-year, $228 million Supermax contract extension, and it worked. But it's not only about that. What Holiday provides on the basketball court is essential to anything and everything the Bucks want to do, especially defensively. Head coach Mike Budenholzer likes to deploy Holiday against the best offensive player on the opposing team, night in, night out. The data backs it up. Holiday ranks 5th in B-Ball Index's matchup difficulty statistic of players who have played more than 1,000 minutes this season. Under Budenholzer, the Bucks have always been a team that prioritizes rim protection above anything else, sticking to their drop coverage style defense, even if that means sacrificing more threes to do it. The Bucks have led the NBA in opponent above the break three-point attempts for 3 seasons in a row, including this season, and in the past 2 seasons had the lowest opponent field goal percentage in the restricted area in the entire NBA. That scheme has proved to be effective in the regular season, but faulty in the playoffs, and it could be problematic against a team like the Brooklyn Nets, who can have 5 knockdown shooters on the court altogether. It's the main reason the Miami Heat were able to eliminate the Bucks in the second round last season, when Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson burned the Bucks for leaving them open on the perimeter.
Whoever said a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich is a liar. He's a knockdown shooter and put his team in position.
But this season, with Holiday fully adjusted to his surroundings, Budenholzer has evolved his scheme, hoping not to get burned again come playoff time. Instead of sticking to their drop coverage, the Bucks switch on ball screens twice as much as they did the last 2 seasons. This season, they're switching on 19% of ball screens compared to 7.4% the last 2 seasons, according to Second Spectrum. Call it the Holiday effect. And somehow, they're still elite at protecting the rim, especially with Holiday on the court. The Bucks average 6.1 fewer drives per 100 possessions when Holiday's on the court compared to when he's on the bench. Holiday is a lockdown perimeter defender who would be one of your first choices in the NBA to guard the likes of Kyrie Irving or James Harden, and has proven it in the playoffs. And with the Bucks' acquisition of PJ Tucker, they have the ideal lineup to match up against any version of the Nets small ball lineup. With Giannis on Durant or as a help side defender and rim protector, and a combination of Tucker, Dante DiVincenzo, Kris Middleton, and Holiday terrorizing the perimeter. Look, at the end of the day, it's impossible to stop the Nets' offense, but the best you can hope to do in a playoff series is limit them to the point where your own offense can keep up. The Bucks should be able to do that. And as far as having the offensive firepower to keep up, well, the Bucks may be one of the most well-equipped teams to do so. They have the 6th best offensive rating in the NBA and the 9th best offensive rating against teams with a top 10 defense. Brooklyn is the 6th worst defense in the NBA, allowing 113.7 points per 100 possessions. They're simply built to win the game shot for shot. The Nets' lack of size and rebounding makes them bleed points on second chance opportunities, giving up almost 15 second chance points a game. And the Bucks can capitalize, ranking in the top 10 in second chance points, and have the size to become a mismatch for the Nets.
13 points in this fourth quarter. Nice pass.
Giannis is performing at an MVP level for the 3rd year in a row, and besides Zion Williamson, he is the most prolific scorer inside the painted area in the entire NBA. And the Nets would not have any answers for Giannis. In their one and only matchup against the Bucks, the Greek Freak dropped a 34-point triple-double. He still struggles in isolation situations as a scorer, but with Holiday as a primary ball handler, Giannis is able to be an off-ball terror. The lineup of Middleton, Giannis, and Holiday is one of the top 23-man lineups in the NBA with a net rating of 11.6. I say all that to say this: the offense can keep up, especially if the Bucks defense does its job. But absolutely none of this will matter if Coach Budenholzer doesn't adjust his schemes come playoff time.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Last playoffs, Budenholzer was heavily criticized for keeping his rotation to 10 players against the Heat and limiting Giannis to just 29.7 minutes per game. And he showed an unwillingness to use Giannis as their nominal center when Brook Lopez was getting played off of the court. But Bud has shown a willingness to change, with the Bucks being the third most versatile defense in the NBA this season. But still, the onus is on Budenholzer as to how far this team will go. With the Lakers battling injuries to LeBron and AD this season, the West is wide open, but no one outside of the Los Angeles teams poses a serious threat to stop the dynamic offense of the Nets. And in the East, if you're wondering why I haven't mentioned the Philadelphia 76ers,
Philly cheesesteak.
well, here's why. Outside of Joel Embiid, how reliable can the Sixers offense be come playoff time when the pace of play slows down? That in itself presents a matchup disadvantage for them against the Nets. The Bucks know playoff disappointment. They've lost as the favorites 2 years in a row against teams that went on to either win the NBA championship or go to the NBA finals. But this year, virtually every team has a clear flaw that can be exploited in a playoff series, including the Nets. And it feels like the Bucks have the quote-unquote perfect storm to get over the hump and for Giannis to finally get that elusive NBA championship. But they will need to beat the Nets. And as far as I'm concerned, out of any team in the NBA, they have the best shot. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.